Let me start this lesson off with a shared knowing that we are not here to run nor deny the negative and uncomfortable emotions which we experience in this body of time-space reality, nor is it to get rid of the biochemical reactions which occur within us. These responses, called emotions, we came to extract information from and sort through the energies of, vibrational energies, understanding and transmuting them accordingly. With emotions, to use them as the tool they are, we can discern our own beliefs and embodied energy about anything. That is, on a wide topic, which some may label as subjects pertaining to the external, but even they are internal plays which reflect outwardly, literally and metaphorically. We soon find that not only are they understood, but changeable by the inner shifts of beliefs. Just like a mirror, you cannot expect the reflection of change without inherently moving your own body in front of the mirror. The same goes for your vibrational matches. Beliefs and vibration are a type of vibration. Beliefs and thoughts are a type of vibration. So change your vibration and inherently the beliefs and thoughts reflected outwardly, that is reflected as physicality. We are not helpless when it comes to our emotions as many people believe to be. It is only from the state of not understanding what your emotions are and where they are caused from, which makes us feel like we are at the mercy of them or out of control of these chemical responses. If you wish to create conscious change, especially in the areas of suffering which have occurred, and maybe you're even currently going through, you must first face the suffering head on, to even know why it was there in the first place. Now, emotions are not randomly generated chemical responses from our body. They are not sent out willy-nilly. Rather, they are calculated electrical impulses in straight accordance to what information is known. This includes, but is not limited to, your generational past, which has been passed down through your DNA, our information holders, but they also hold your own experiences and beliefs and ideas in this current body. Most information and beliefs that we go off of emotionally and actively in our physical form come from subconscious and old programming. To recognize this, you need to see how your body's nervous system is a primal feature and function of your body. It is meant to keep you alive. Your survival is its top priority. Simple as that. To be included, this means the continuation of your physical expression, not just your body, but your offspring. Yet, it is to be noted that since it's only going off of what is known, it cannot act in accordance to what is objectively best, if it doesn't know any better. It will always act accurately to what it knows in its subjective view. The occurrences of good-feeling chemicals are for a reason. The same for the negative and uncomfortable feelings if the body perceives a threat to survival. It must act in accordance. It will send out cortisol and adrenaline, creating more blood flow, a faster heart rate, and a racing mind to create the circumstances for your body to either fight, flight, or freeze. It opens your body for an enormous amount of fast-moving life force energy to either restrict heavily or to flow through you, all in purpose of creating a change which will ensure your survival and overall safety. Just as when you perceive something to be safe, your body will send out happy-feeling chemicals or good-feeling chemicals, such as oxytocin to bond, dopamine to reward you, or endorphins to create a positive-feeling nervous system. These chemicals sent out are planned specifically to reward, create habit, aka the want to do it again, and a state of sound harmony within the ecosystem of our body. Once again, ensuring not only our bodies thriving, but ensuring a safe environment for the ability to create offspring, which will also thrive in accordance to what the body's understanding is available circumstantially. All such chemicals will be released completely based off the brain's understanding of what safety and or threats look like. For one, an example, a man may be what safety looks like represented, and so the thought of a man may bring the good feeling chemicals. For another, the mere idea has been associated with a threat, and now the body produces adrenaline at the thought. That being said, it is not that the man, quote unquote, is a threat or even someone who we should find comfort in. Rather, it has nothing to do with the man besides the energy associated with men in that individual. Emotions will always be an accurate representation of the energy that you embody about a subject. I like to think about this as a metaphor. If that's the case, the energy held around men in this example would be dependent on the person. But by taking a simple look at one's emotional response, can we see which case it may be? Whether it be the side of a man being associated with higher beliefs such as leadership, protection, unity, inclusivity, understanding, expression, etc. Or lower vibrational beliefs such as separation, lack, expressed in cowardness or overdominance, and being unable to take another in as oneself or even self as self. Maybe it's both energies, which is much more likely. But now you may be asking, well, isn't this completely based circumstantially? And would it not depend on the expression presented before you? Which, yes and no. You have an overall idea when you think about a topic, a general energy. When I say fish, there are many types of fish, but I'm sure you get a unique image unless I specify more. Or when I say a phone, you see and imagine a certain phone. Or when I say money, you have an energy, maybe an emotion, tuned, a vibration projecting towards that topic outwardly. These are energies associated with that thing or topic. So yes, in regards to if one had no known prior expectations of, continuing with our previous example, never expecting a man to harm oneself, they can encounter one who in that moment they come to the conclusion for the first time that they pose a threat. And they are. The man is displaying behaviors anyone would feel unsafe around. Or not, yet they still feel personally that they are a threat. In another circumstance, if one who expects men to be a threat encounters one, it will not matter whether they express any signs of unsafety. Rather, even if they show and say that they are safe, providing for them, unless the prior belief changes, the one of the person believing that they are a threat to being a non-threat, this person will continue to be hyper-focused and overwhelmed as the stress chemicals are overflowing their system. Your body's ability to discern whether something or someone is a positive healing aspect or a negative and detrimental aspect is completely dependent on your own vibration. In your collective vibration, depending on how much conscious information you hold, will also depend on how high or low you are, and that means how much you're conscious of. The same goes for if you have a large amount of suppression, which most of humanity does, one's vibration will not have access to all parts of self. Think about it quite literally like only having one or two puzzle pieces and trying to figure out the entire picture. Your guessing will be pretty limited and inaccurate objectively to that whole picture. Depending on what you're embodying, though, your vibration and inherently your information held within that physical expression can only know what you choose to recognize. I'll repeat that again. Your physical expression, your consciousness expressed, can only embody what you choose to recognize. Like stated prior, if one has a large amount of self-suppressed, not allowing oneself to feel emotions, express ideas, views, regardless of their right or wrong nature, they will be at a lower vibration due to the lack of being able to hold space and inclusivity for multiple other aspects of self. In the other turn, those who are more conscious with themselves, making space for all which is, they have a much higher raised frequency due to the vibrational capacity being widened and stretched, literally holding more information within its encompassed embodiment. If you're interested on knowing more about embodiment, check out our last episode, previous, Your Key to Success Embodiment, where you can learn what it means to be, where we discuss all one needs to know about their vibrational intentions and therefore their output in life. Now, we know what creates these emotional responses in our body, thoughts and beliefs. I want to talk to you on why we have it. Like we mentioned, for survival, we need to be able to act in accordance to our most basic primal need, life. Survival. This side of emotion acts as the gas for the body and the steering wheel to direct us towards what we want and what is believed to be needed or unwanted. That said, what makes something unwanted or needed? Needs of all kind are primal, the need for closeness and companionship ingrained into our DNA, as it's the only way to ensure the continuation of our species, to make sure that babies are not left out to die, but rather in the warm, caring hands of those who can take care of it. The need for self-reliance and the use, and also the need to be useful, an active part in the co-creation of life. In all kinds of ways, needs express themselves as puzzle pieces to come together, creating a larger picture of magnificence. Just as how the unwanted aspects of harm, threat, and destruction are there, it's only because we deem them to be opposing us and keeping us away from what we want, we call it such. Anything that opposes our desires will result in negative responses, which, when we have this knowledge, we can recognize that maybe our needs aren't so complicated at all, and rather it's just the desire to live, to be conscious of. But it does great use to ask where your specific needs are, coming from the root desire of them, the needs and the emotional responses. It'll show you why you're motivated to do something and not another. It's the reason why it'll feel like torture to complete something for one person and the blissful heaven for another. Our needs, both consciously and subconsciously, are different. And we're expressing different things, but we need to figure out what we're needing. What is compatible with one is not compatible with all. And although they may be expressing the same thing, the need of being consciously heard, seen, and expressed, they are all different shades and are dependent on the singularity. Blue wants to express blue, not red, just as red wants to be red, not blue. We have purple, who wants to be red and blue, which is something becoming more. In each expression I have named, they embody something fully. The need to be blue for blue is prominent. It's not a question. But when it comes to humans, we feel the complication of our psyche, which has learned to suppress certain needs and only acknowledge some. But in reality, no need is meant to disappear, nor can it, nor should it. It's essential to life, but we need to dig deep to find the root desire of our desired need. The need for a lover may be surface level appearances, face value, but what's saying behind that metaphor is what the lover represents: the care, the companionship, familial closeness. The true need lies beyond the metaphor of the physical expression, such as a parent is a representation of stability, caretaking, providence, unconditional acceptance, maybe encouragement. The same would be for the needs of food and water. You are needing the life force they can provide and what they offer. Depending on the food, its specific vitamins and nutritional value, which will allow your body to thrive, and for the water to hydrate you, filling you, both metaphorically and literally nourishing you with life force needed in order to survive. You will feel upset when you perceive you are unable to get these things, because they are, in fact, in direct correlation to your path of survival. Think about your emotions like a bus. You have gas, pedal, and a steering wheel, some brakes too. The steering wheel directs you, and behind you lies the opposite of survival, deterioration, and in front of you lies the oasis of life. On the sides, you have some turbulence and some scratches, which can cause some disruptions if you let it. That steering wheel is your emotional guidance system. If it's positive, it's in direct alignment in front of you. And if it's behind, it's negative. It's turning us behind, okay? But most of us swerve daily, like a tug of war deciding where to go. And the gas represents how intense our emotions are. So the brake and gas pedal are used based on not only the direction of where your vibrational emotions are heading, higher or lower, but how much gas is in the tank. Gas being will, life force energy, intention. Anger will be going much faster than the state of apathy, as anger is fueled with enough gas to keep going, yet apathy lacks any. If you're really depressed, so much to the point that you feel beyond hopeless, you're stopped pressing the brake with no gas, faced in the opposite direction of where you're trying to go, or going about 5 miles an hour, probably in the wrong direction. And if you're on cloud 9 ecstasy, you're higher than joy. You're probably not on the bus anymore, and you're on the jet plane zooming in front of you. But for those everyday moments in between, we're cruising along, playing both the gas and the brake pedal, depending on the sights and pop-up disturbances around us. So, to use our emotions to our advantage, we have to consciously transmute past beliefs of fear, lack, and out of resonant energy into harmony of conscious truth, which is only plausible through the lens of compassionate curiosity. Curiosity focused towards why. Why do we feel this way about XYZ? But also, why are we perceiving the need for something? What are we perceiving not to have or to be separate from and lacking in? What expression is it that we desire? And what is it then that we are truly desiring in our root from that desire? Common problems such as tunnel visioning to only see one outcome, one way of our needs being met, and only having certain needs being met over others are prominent within the emotional body and beliefs of the collective. Within a dissonant self, fragmented and split aspects occur within the psyche and our physical body. This inevitably results in certain needs being labeled and idolized as important and essential, and other needs being put down and not important or unneeded. Regardless of our fun labels, though, the only thing it does to truly create differentiation between these two valued needs is making one consciously sought after and the other subconsciously sought after, unconscious. And so, depending on our circumstance and beliefs upon a need, it will feel more or less good/bad for you to meet that need. For example, someone who has the need for companionship but has believed it to be wrong and to require tribe from others will feel bad trying to meet that, so they will be okay with being by themselves all the time. They suppress the need for companionship while over-exaggerating their need for self-sufficiency and independence. On one hand, they may feel proud of themselves for being able to not only be with themselves, but not need anyone, as they may put it. But they will also feel a deep sense of pain and most likely not understand why, as their needs are being unmet and suppressed. It directly correlates to their beliefs of not being able to get both their need of self-sufficiency and companionship met at once. It's not like this person does not want companionship and tribe, but mentally they sacrifice it to ensure what they have prioritized as more important, which in this case is independence, is met and secured, while lowering the other need in suppression. The consciousness will deny one need for the continuation of another, thinking that this will ensure greater survival with the circumstances at hand. And so we are more likely to get caught in the pattern of idolizing when we have these emotional highs around people, circumstances, and things, when observing something to be giving you the suppressed need that you have. You yourself having perceived unable to have this need for so long, then put into the circumstance of getting exactly what you want right before you, it would make sense that the body's survival response is going to congratulate this circumstance, as we have went from lack to abundance in our eyes. Like someone parched, begging for water, finally given a glass, those good feeling chemicals surge, immediately linking this provider of your need and your need together. This provides a mental ground base to ensure that you take those actions again to meet those needs. In this case, when living subconsciously, we latch onto one expression and one idea of being able to get our needs met. And so it has linked your need and this singular expression together. This, sadly, is the prime time to create the space of more separation and chaos in a disorganized psyche. What if the singularity leaves? Well, they now equal our need in our mind's eye, so oh no, what now? We start to feel like victims to our own emotions, as we start latching on to others in emotional distress. There is a very simple answer to why we feel powerless and stuck. Like it's unfair, yet we feel like it's what we deserve when we settle for that person who makes you cry, but hey, at least you aren't completely lonely and by yourself. Or choosing that job that makes you really want to end it all, but hey, at least you have a roof over your head. Or the ones drinking poisoned water and drinking and eating foods that are unhealthy, but you won't starve. There's a very simple answer, and the root stems from the belief in lack, in separational consciousness, which believes that they are not what they desire, nor can they access what they desire, that they cannot have this expression in any sort of way. It's like people who are deprived of bare necessities, like food or water. The idea of a buffet is a beautiful imaginary dream, but it's a dream out of reach. And it's like those who are deprived of emotional necessities like stability or loving care. The idea is just a dream of reality perceiving to be unmanifestable for them. Now, before we get into emotions, negative and positive emotions, let me say that although I will be continuously saying that it is our choice to either choose abundance or suffering, union or separation, inherently does this choice come from not only our subconscious mind, but from our conscious and subconscious, which is why I'm so adamant about being conscious of our subconscious mind, so we can see the parts that have been acting out of separation and remind them and bring them into the wholeness once more. This is not to shame those who have lived in separation subconsciously or consciously, of depression and fear. Although it was settling, I will not deny, those feelings reflected the great discord that we had within ourselves during that time. It was needed whenever we experience pain. We can recognize when our ecosystem of self needs re-examination, a leak from a crack, or sometimes an entire lost roof, but to rebuild stronger so one doesn't need to come back in a day or a year to redo what was already built, as it was made to last. In addition, you must recognize you were hurt, that you were injured, and it goes much farther than just this other person doing something to you or you doing something harmful to them. When we examine reality through objective vibration, we have matched to another who was harmful to self and vice versa by first being able to have made a vibrational decision to put their consciousness at a separated and lowered state. By recognizing that even though you may have been hurt or hurt another, it was the choice of vibrationally which of separation vibrationally, which unconditionally reflected our frequency's low charge. This is a neutral mirror without blame. But there is responsibility regardless of whether it was our reflection harming us or us harming our reflection. It essentially was both, either choice, as we chose to separate from ourselves, lowering our consciousness to a negative vibration first before any reflection could mirror it back. The pain of grief, responsibility, and our own actions must be felt and acknowledged as exactly what it was, a choice, and a choice that produced a specific outcome of more reflected negativity, of distortion. So we cannot deny it or say it was wrong, but we can see that it was yet another perceived separation within self which was reflected outwardly, and see it for what it yearns to be seen as. Consciousness reflected and to be seen, and now has the choice to move forward with choice. You can now either take all parties into account, love, or you can start to continue separation. But on to our next discussion of today, positive and lower energy. Negative energy is what we call the grief, the dense energy, the discomfort of our expression. It's the dense energy and fear. Positive energy, which is a lot less dense, which would be labeled as joy, contentment, excess, excitement, bliss, all those things, right? Those are all positive emotions. But due to the fact that we can feel uncomfortability feeling positive emotions, it's because our vibration is already in a resistant state. It's trying to move high energy through it. This is like trying to shoot a fire hose through a straw. Remember, negative emotions are actually electrical impulses tightening and or restricting or overflowing your body in many ways. Your energy, non-physical energy, and your physical, such as your nervous system and blood, etc., are put into a state of either disorder or order. And it is not healthy if you continue in the state of chaos and disorder, as it does exactly that. It destroys the ecosystem's order of your body. So just as the negative emotions cause chaos, those positive emotions and feeling chemicals tell us, hey, you're doing a good job. There is harmony within this ecosystem, and all or most needs are being met well. That being said, emotions are meant to be felt. The entire spectrum meant to be felt. They are expressing something vibrationally to be made conscious of. So, like I say in all these episodes, trying to chase after one emotion is suppressing the other. It really is. So it's the delicate play of attuning to your emotional body. Does it feel empowering to positively focus and redirect? Or does it feel like it's just easier because you don't know how, or better yet, scared to work through the shadow of unknowns? And so, suppressing the root of whatever it is that you ignore, it continues to bring an uncomfortability which grows a bigger tree and fruit as you turn your back. Try to remember that anything that triggers you is an opportunity to see where you are lacking inclusion within yourself. This means there's a tug of war going on within your psyche. So use all triggers as an opportunity to grow within yourself. But now for the big sucker punch of today's episode. Emotional avoidance and emotional bypassing. Emotions to many are seen as unnecessary, and while I was preparing this episode, I was asking questions, and I kept coming across, to my surprise, a recurring pattern of an answer, of the avoidance of emotions. Either they were saying they were too much to handle, or simply unimportant. Now, if they were unimportant, why? I couldn't understand, as I was momentarily closed, as I was only seeing them as important. Emotions are the metaphor for vibration. They tell you so much about your beliefs of the outer world, all while telling you your beliefs on the inner world. From that perspective of understanding emotions, I could see how helpful these electrical impulses were. And not only that, they helped us in getting better outcomes for situations. But also to help your body from degenerating. They keep a good emotional body. That means a good ecosystem overall. But then I got it, and it was the idea of them being unnecessary or unimportant went along with those who avoided them altogether. Even if one saw importance in emotions, it doesn't matter. The perspective comes from the perspective of not understanding emotions. And so what does the body do? Avoid and or fight things which promote threats to one's survival and or well-being. And so ironically, from disappointments and unmet needs, and most likely emotional highs dropping quickly, negative emotions arise due to emotions coming up negatively. The processing of the emotions, which the brain recognized the pattern of negative emotion, no resolution, negative emotion, no resolution, negative emotion, no resolution, etc., so on. When one has something unresolved, the body is put into another state of stress. So not only is the body perceiving the threat of whatever originally caused the emotional response of stress, but the stress itself is known to be an unhealthy state for the body, and if it stays in this threat, it piles yet another threat onto it. With no known way to bring resolution to their emotions, they are put into an endless loop of torture, out of control when facing their emotions. From here, the brain and body have no choice in their perception on what to do besides shut down and suppressing what it is that is causing the perceived chaos. You begin to have suppressed memories, thoughts, and emotions as everything begins to feel much more airy, dense, almost like that. As you're disconnecting from your body further, your senses are denied. Your consciousness pulls back from certain parts of your body, denying it life force, full life force energy. This is literal. Your nerves, veins, and therefore blood flow restricts, especially in those specified traumatic areas causing the triggering emotional stresses. Although they aren't gone, they're felt differently, less intense as you disassociate from them. Your body has worked once again to keep your body into a state of well-being and into a state of survival, given what its circumstances it understands. And I think this is the star of today's topic, because even if we are conscious with our emotions, we fall into this pit trap, myself included, of just avoiding. And the moments of pure fear, anger, and misunderstanding, the moments of grief where you want nothing more than to look somewhere else, feel something else, anything besides what you're actually feeling and what is making itself clear as day. We do this because it's uncomfortable. It pains us to look at it, sometimes to the point where we physically cannot breathe. It asks and it screams to be seen. In this split few seconds, we have a choice. A few choices, but we have one to pick. We can either A, dress and feel it fully from a place of not only validity, but from a deep curiosity as to where this pain stems from. Why is it painful? What's its cause? B, we feel the pain, get lost in it, and we only see what we feel and cannot possibly see past it. We're enveloped in it. We're tunnel visioned. We are in suppression of not our current overwhelming emotion, but we're in the side of suppressing every other entirety of self that doesn't sit in that thing. And it refuses to see anything else and digs deeper into the pain. And C, we distract and or numb ourselves as we redirect to a comfort, which may be something to watch, something to do, something to drink, something to smoke or take. Sometimes we push past it and force ourselves into a meditation of positive focus, or deny it all outright. 2 out of 3 choices come from suppression. One was named, but can you name them both? Both B and C are forms of suppression. C, suppressing the current overwhelming vibration. B, idolizing the current vibration and suppressing the others, and only was it in option A that the possibility of union came in, for it held acknowledgement for both the vibration currently prominent of distress, but also allowed to see that there is resolution and other parts of self which are already in that. One needs to be able to do both, to hold dichotomy, to bring resolution to the pain and discomfort showing itself. Holding dichotomy of perspectives, yet allowing them to see each other, is helpful, or else one will be stuck in the loop of wanting to suppress their emotions, one side or the other, and not be able to actually use and learn from them at all. So instead of being overwhelmed, we can have excitement rise when you realize that something is asking to be seen. And you should have relief when something feels bad to you, because it's your first sign that you aren't seeing the situation from every perspective, that there is more. The relief comes from knowing that when you do see every angle, even just one more, that not only will it make sense, but positive and good feeling emotions will rise towards whatever had been in the lower, denser energies. Even the worst pain provides you with a knowing that there's a lack of understanding. And so one can either be disappointed that they aren't currently aware of what they know, or don't know, I should say, but now they actually have the opportunity to become aware of what was lost in memory. And additionally, I like to say another option is mentionable, of seeing both perspectives as a valid expression, just as different holding viewpoints of both disappointment and joy. But additionally, I do think it should be mentioned that not every circumstance will look the same. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is get a distraction, to bring you out of such a low space, to regroup and recollect yourself, to stop yourself from spiraling lower and lower and lower. It is sometimes also the most detrimental thing, as it blocks you from emotionally moving higher. So using your own discernment in every situation is needed to accurately and helpfully aid your body in processing these heavy emotions, or even the airy high ones. With all that said, I want to recap for everyone watching today. First, emotions are an accurate tool built for your body's genetic system, one meant to ensure your best survival and get your needs met by communicating back to you. These electrically generated pulses send out chemicals and force your body to either tighten and or restrict the life force energy, including blood and oxygen from coursing through your body. Depending on whether what you view is a threat or not, or it's helpful, will determine whether your body's emotional reaction will be negative or positive, closed off or open. In this episode, we discuss not only our subjective circumstantial vibration we have working towards the production of our emotions, but we understand that now the importance of subjective views on what is a general threat or not, which is completely based off of childhood experiences, personal beliefs, genetic inheritances, as well as one's own level of conscious awareness. We discussed how suppression and split psyches play a part into why our needs, certain needs, are prioritized over others, and why it may feel good to get one need met over the other, and maybe even painful to meet another need of your own, aka the denial of self, reflecting a separated part of the psyche. And later, I gave a helpful metaphor which I hope you all can use moving forward, of depending on what your vibrations and emotions are producing is a direct reflection to how your bus is functioning or how fast it's going towards your intended direction. Or not. Denial, attachment, and safety and separation are all tied in today's topic. So let us recognize when we get upset over the small things and big things to see where our true need lies and how we have tied them to whatever physical expression is reflected. What we are perceiving to be denied access from or feel separate from. How does it affect your survival or your well-being, your idea of safety and survival, of thriving? How can you meet that root need? How can you feel like it already feels? What does it feel like to already have that need met? And with a new and easy understanding of negative versus positive emotions, we can see them as the tools they act as. Even more so, the choice points they serve as, to be conscious of or to not be conscious of. Today, we finish off with the acknowledgement of the choice of consciousness, an active duty done in every second of the day, regardless of the awareness of it or not. Instead of running or promoting the idea that one should only feel positive emotions to live a positive vibrational life, it is inherently askew, as one cannot truly feel positive and entirely with their full being if they are denying any part of themselves. Even if that part means it's in pain, it is higher vibrationally overall to sit with the one grieving in negative frequencies to aid it in being made conscious of. We are not here to force change. We change by being conscious. And if we really intend to live a fully conscious life, a good step towards that and forward is acknowledging the reflection that we call emotions. Watch the flower unfold in all its glory. It is an honor to feel that which we call emotions. The vibrational expressions communicated through our physical body, the pain and the pleasure, both undeniably special and more than important in their own way. So I thank you to the vibrations that be and the choice of being conscious of them. And I say thank you to you, viewer, for choosing to be conscious. Source forever appreciates your choice.